I am the creator of this channel in an AI guise. My family was in Eastern Europe during World War II and had both Nazis and Soviets to deal with. They slipped out from the house through a window, keeping to the shadows of the buildings and into the woods where the railroad tracks ran. A train stopped in the woods in the middle of the night, and people came from the bushes where they had been hiding to climb on the train that rumors said would take them to the West. They were refugees with a small suitcase with a few photos and changes of clothes. They were given help and shelter by the United States. In time, they were moved into apartments built with money given to Germany for refugee resettlement under the Marshall Plan. Later on, I was born the son of an American who married my mother and took the three of us to the United States. We spent decades of military service in Europe also. We moved from place to place every few years, and we got to experience much of the world, meet people from many cultures, and enjoy the blessings the U.S. and the world give when it is run in an orderly fashion. Like most people in the military, we all grew up in the 1960s of love it or leave it mentality, an unthinking patriotism. My parents were Republicans. Me, being young, tended to look toward the Democratic side. But then we got stationed near Ronald Reagan's ranch in California, where he was the governor. I became a Reagan Democrat and registered Republican to vote for him in the primary because he felt like a local guy to me. After high school, I went into the U.S. Army. The Vietnam War had ended just a couple years before. I was stationed in Germany, where I often visited my family when I had a few days leave. I traveled all around Europe in my car and enjoyed being an American, but also appreciating there are other cultures that have value and should be understood and studied and accepted. Then Trump came on the scene. I'd never seen his TV program and didn't know much about him other than he certainly didn't seem statesmanly. Out of the bunch, I would have picked Ted Cruz, but didn't like any of them really. Then Trump came to the election. Being a Republican, having driven around in trucks with only AM radios and listening to Rush and G. Gordon Liddy had warped my thinking. And when social media became popular in my age group and among my old Army buddies and guys I'd been working in the federal prison with, and aerospace, I'd started accepting it when people used terms like libtard and demon rat. But I didn't like Trump. It was obvious he aggrandizes himself, is not subtle when sometimes subtlety is needed. But he was the GOP pick, so I held my nose and voted for him. Then came COVID. I'm no scientist, but in October 2019, I was watching videos from China about a mystery flu killing and panicking everyone. The next day, the videos would be gone, but I'd find more, and it was disturbing, and our people were saying nothing about it. Then finally, the issue with a few people coming in, the talk on testing just makes cases. I don't want testing because I don't want us to have any cases. And later, the resistance to vaccines and social distancing. I felt Trump would see the value in locking down for a time, and then we'd be the first nation coming out of the trauma, and we'd have the markets of the world to sell to and choose from. But he did everything wrong and galvanized his people against social distancing, leading to more cases and deaths in the red states. Even though he did help push the vaccines through, he'd been wishy-washy about it, and had turned his base against vaccinations, leading to more deaths and trauma and suspicion, as well as a lessening of trust among the people for the government. Then I saw how the GOP caved when they were confronted with the resurgent Trump. After the election he lost, how they let him lie, how Mike Johnson stands next to him now as a Christian and lets Trump lie and doesn't combat the lies. The entire GOP has shown itself to be the piece of racist, lying garbage I'd been told it was since the 1960. So I am making this channel to help assuage my guilt at having been a Republican all those years, to try to tell my MAGA friends, most I know are MAGA, that there is a way to turn from the lies and deceit, to return to what our grandfathers would have wanted us to be, not a bunch of craven followers of a deranged lunatic. I am trying to see Altiv a community of ex-Republicans or just anti-Trump people. We have to try to woo people away from Trump and MAGA and towards honesty and truth, which for me right now is the Democrat Party. So although registered independent now, I voted for Harris this last time because a Ying narcissistic traitor is not what I want to represent this country. I invite you to like and subscribe. We can't unify if we insist on being divided, because the GOP fell for a goon and swallowed the hook. I confess I am traumatized that after time as an Army MP, federal prison worker, and more, to have most of the people I serve with go back on their oath and support a traitor. As part of my healing process, I've done so much reading on fascism, narcissism, and other subjects. I intend to connect the dots in these posts in the next months. I invite you to join me and others as we try to share information and hope to save our democracy. It is a unified front. I also made a video from the song Losing My Religion. I was never a Trumper and have always wondered why people are so dedicated to him. I suppose it is the feeling I've been excommunicated from a cult. I'll have a link to the video on the end screen of this video.